Hello again, everyone. It's Ariel Helwani here on this Thursday afternoon, and today we're being joined by a very special guest. He's a former UFC fighter, now turned WWE superstar, and on Friday night, he makes his long-awaited WWE SmackDown debut. He's the Super King of Bros himself, the one and only Matt Riddle. Good to talk to you again, my friend. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me again, bro. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and this is an exciting time in your life, I would imagine, because you're getting the quote unquote call up. We have so much to talk to you about, but I want to ask you this. For the MMA fan out there that may not really understand the difference between NXT and say SmackDown, when you were signed to WWE in 2018, and then they put you in NXT, sort of their, for lack of a better term, like a developmental program. Did it feel like you made the big leagues when you signed with them, or does this feel like you're almost getting called up to the Yankees?
For me, I think it's a progression, kind of like amateur MMA, professional MMA, UFC, Bellator, where you're fighting at a higher level, but eventually you make it. And I think, the indies are probably the minor leagues. And then you got NXT, which is still professional, but still not on the level of SmackDown in the sense of production and value and just overall worldwide branding. And now SmackDown or Raw, once you're at that level, it's just a different ball game. It's a bigger picture.
So when you signed in the summer of 2018, did you think it would take this long, around 2 years, to get called up?
I never think it's gonna take that long. With my experience with MMA, training for as little as I did and getting to the UFC and the Ultimate Fighter, and then even with pro wrestling, it actually took me 5 years just to get to NXT. So, I didn't know how long I was gonna stay in NXT, and I was hoping it'd be quick. And I think I did what I had to do in NXT to make the proper move to the main roster. You know.
What were the circumstances around you getting the call or being told that you are now moving over to SmackDown? What was that like?
I wish I could tell you if there's circumstances. It kind of just happens out of nowhere. I think they just saw me over time. They saw the mixed martial arts background. I think they like my look. I'm consistent. I never complain. I never take a day off. I work really hard, and I think all those things. Plus, I think there's some other people that are in different positions that are helping me out. And I think, wrestling's one of those things where you're just like right place, right time. It really doesn't matter how good you are, how cool you are, anything. It's just right place, right time, and you got to run with the ball when you're given the opportunity.
When you're on the main roster, are you keeping the same gimmick? Are you still the King of Bros, and are you Matt Riddle, the same look, everything?
I'm Matt Riddle. I don't think that's going to change. I don't want to change. I don't think my employers want me to change. I think they really like who I am. They like what I bring to the table. It's unique. It's different. It doesn't, and I think it's for the writers and for everybody else. I'm a breath of fresh air. It's hard when you got people coming in that you got to tell them what to do. While with me, I know what I'm going to do. You can guide me and stuff, but I know who Matt Riddle is. I don't have to think about my character. I am Matt Riddle. I am, the King of Bros. I am the original bro. So
Will you still be wrestling barefoot?
still wrestling barefoot. When I did all this, I had a meeting with Vince months ago before Mania, and I went to his headquarters in Stamford. I full suit, but of course had my flip flops on. I'll show some respect, but I wear flip flops. That's how I do my work. And he saw that. He's like, "You really like that's your thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like I haven't worn shoes in like years, And yeah, I don't think anybody wants to change me. I think they know what they got. They know I bring something unique and original. Maybe that's the original bro. I don't know, but but I know. I think they like what I bring to the table. So.
I saw recently Booker T told you to get a pair of boots. What did you make of those comments? It seemed
Well,
like it was a shoot. It seemed like he doesn't like the barefoot thing.
well, me and Booker T, we've had our back and forth, our tit for tats, and it's just a difference in opinion. I just like wrestling barefoot. I'm more than capable to wrestling barefoot. Anybody who's ever wrestled knows the difficulties of wrestling barefoot. Anybody who's done anything barefoot in their life, no, it's not as easy as it is with a pair of shoes or boots on. So, I mean, for me, I've conditioned my feet. It's part of my thing. I like when I kick people, it sounds like a chop because I'm hitting them skin on skin, flesh on flesh. So for me, I don't want to change it. I really enjoy what I do. It's unique, it's different, and I bring like a real feel, that raw element with it. Because I don't wear knee pads, I don't wear elbow pads, I don't wear, I'm not covered up or geared up. What you see is what you get, and I'm durable, I'm strong, and that's one of my things. So when I hear a Booker T wanting me to wear shoes, it could be, or boots, it could be two things. He wants me to be safe, and he's really worried about me. And that's what I think it is. He's just, Booker T is just really worried about me, doesn't want me to stub a toe and put my career in hiatus. But I think it's just mostly just a difference in opinion. He likes the boots, the knee pads, the gloves. If you watched him wrestle, he wore almost everything you could while still showing off his physique. So I think it's just different folks, different strokes.
Why does it seem, at least for me, that you have ruffled a lot of feathers, especially with the veterans? Booker, Chris Jericho, Lance Storm. You've had these back and forths, of course, the Goldberg stuff, the Brock Lesnar stuff. Was this a conscious effort on your part to sort of shake things up, or do you feel like they kind of look down on you because you're this brash young guy? Why do you think this has happened?
I think a lot of times they think I'm just a brash young guy. Most people think I'm still in my 20s, but I'm in my mid 30s. I fought in the UFC and everything. I think my problem even with the UFC, I know I got released, because of that, but I also talked a lot of crap too, and I think that didn't help my case. I think in WWE, on my way to wrestling, people ask your opinion. I think a lot of people hold their tongues and hold back because they don't want to offend anybody or, like you say, ruffle feathers. And in my personal opinion, I believe we're in a sports entertainment where we're fighting each other and we're trying to cause this drama and we're trying to create this emotion, but nobody wants to like push anybody too far. And I'm just like, I don't really get it. In my opinion, I like to push people, and I think that's part of my job, to make people care about what I'm doing. And if I had to ruffle a few feathers to do that, I'm probably going to do it. And I'm sorry. And I tell people, I've given speeches at the PC and stuff. It's like, hey, I'm going to post probably stuff you don't like. You might be offended. Realize it's not personal. I don't take anything. You can talk trash on me. Trust me. The president of the UFC talks a lot of trash on me. I took that person. But you know what I'm saying. But like, I don't take most things personal. I got pretty thick skin. So when you're in this world, in this element, for people with their egos to take things too serious kind of blows my mind, because it's like, this is what we're here for. I'm here to create drama and create tension and make the world think, oh my, what's going to happen next? Like, these guys can't stand each other. And sometimes it just happens to be true. But a lot of times, a lot of people don't stand each other. You just don't know about it. So I'd rather people don't like me, people know about it.
So the stuff with Goldberg and Brock, this is 100% legit.
Yeah, oh yeah. Me and Goldberg, different opinion. You know me, I'm a high level wrestler. I like, jujitsu, state, everything. And when I bring it to pro wrestling, I wanted to match. We differ in that. Not saying he doesn't like it, but he can't do it. And it's just one of those things. And then Brock, I think Brock took my statement of, I want to retire him, as an insult, which I could see, but I meant it more as a compliment, being like, bro, like, you're so good at wrestling and mixed martial arts and everything. You are like the mecca. You are the icon of sports entertainment and MMA in some people's eyes. If I were to beat you, let alone retire you, that would make my life. That would make my career. I would be the dude who dethroned Brock Lesnar. That's it. It's not an insult. Think he's a great guy. I hope he's a great guy. When we met, he didn't seem like a great guy to me. But hey, that's whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to put butts in seats. I'm trying to become more valuable, and I don't want to step on too many feet, and I don't want to say anything inappropriate. But if it's something I believe or something I want, I'm probably gonna talk about it.
What happened when you met?
What when me and Lesnar met?
Yeah.
Okay, so me and Lesnar met. He basically, I was just walking. We had the Royal Rumble. I was really excited. I just found out I was in there, and I was hoping to get in there and maybe mix it up with Brock. So, I don't care if I just get suplexed a bunch of times. I wanted to see what would happen, and it's Brock Lesnar, and let's just say he came up to me with a security guard. Not that he needed a security guard. He came up to me, put his arm around me, and basically told me we were never gonna work. So I shouldn't even mention his name or talk about him or anything like that. Or I should not call him out on social media. And I said, whatever you want, bro. Like I'm not gonna what am I gonna do? You're Brock Lesnar. We're in a hallway. I'm not trying to I'm not gonna spaz. Yeah, I get it. You don't want to work with me. I have offended you. That's fine. All I can do is try to change your mind. That's it. So I won't tweet at him. I won't do anything like that. But I still want that match, and that's not going to change. So
Which one do you want
that,
more, the Brock one or the Goldberg one?
I never wanted the Goldberg one.
Oh, really?
Never. I don't think that would be well, unless it was like a minute. It might. I don't think it'd be a great match. I like Brock. Like Brock's really good. That's why I would love that match. But Goldberg was just more. I'm just not a fan of his work, and I just feel like he's been pushed a lot, and he's been able to accomplish so much. When I feel like there's a lot of other people that are more deserving. But that's it. But that's also pro wrestling. Some people just have the look or have it, and Goldberg had it. I can't argue that. The guy's worth millions of dollars. He's a superstar. He's just not my cup of tea.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's said that like backstage in pro wrestling, it's political, and you have to be, as you were just saying, you have to at times, respect your elders, walk on eggshell, things like that. But do you feel like you're able to be this way and say, hey, Brock, bro, Goldberg, bro, and I know he didn't like when you called him bro, because you are a legitimate tough guy, like you could beat people up. You don't have to be worried about that. You are a UFC or former UFC fighter. Does that give you confidence when you're back there? Because I'm sure there are people who try to intimidate and step to you and all that. But at the end of the day, if this was a quote unquote shoot, you'd probably be fine. Does that enter your psyche?
Oh, it's entered my psyche plenty of times. And I know it enters most of my coworkers' psyche because most of them tell me about it. And they're like, yeah, could you imagine if you just turned it up on us? And I was like, yeah, but I wouldn't do that. I'm a nice guy. But yeah, I think it runs through everybody's mind. I think that's why somebody like Brock Lesnar has so much pull, and like even Goldberg, he's a huge human being. Like the guy is a hoss. And you're negotiating, you're talking, you're politicking, and when you're talking with really big men that can hurt you, it's intimidating. It does affect your psyche and stuff like that. Wrestling's very crazy. It's a pretty crazy world. It's cool, but like a lot of it's like it's real. I think a lot of people just think, oh, like we write it on a piece of paper, here you go. But it's a crazy world to live in. It's awesome, but it's pro wrestling.
Now that you've had several years in wrestling, you had several years in MMA, which world do you like living in more?
I love sports entertainment. I love pro wrestling. I love working more. I love the people. I mean, the fans just, not that I don't like MMA fans, but they can be a little cruel at times. Pro wrestling fans are very passionate and really just pour their hearts out for you. And yeah, I just love wrestling. And I have since I was a little kid. It's what I wanted to do. Just never, really thought I could do it until I got fired from the UFC, and I was like, I should maybe try it now.
Do you ever take a moment to look back and say, man, I wonder if I didn't get fired, because you were on a run there. You were unbeaten in 4, and then you ended up fighting somewhere else in Titan, and you won that fight as well. Do you ever think like that sliding doors moment? Because you were you debuted in the UFC, Ultimate Fighter. You didn't really have an amateur career and all that stuff. Do you think about that a lot?
Yeah, I mean, especially on the win streak on my way out and stuff like that. And just seeing where other people that were in the division that were kind of in the same spot I was, that were kind of like making their waves. You kind of hit your prime in your late 20s, going into your 30s. And I'm like, I feel like I'm not sure if I'd be champion, but I'm pretty sure I would have cracked at least the top 5, or maybe at least gotten a title shot one day. Maybe would have been champion, but
Mm.
you never know. But I do think it was the best thing that could have happened to me. Fighting was extremely hard on my body, hard on my mind, cutting that much weight and then raising 3 kids and doing a lot. For me, it was really tough. And at the end of the day, I didn't like hurting people. So like bad. And in the UFC, like I hurt a couple. Like I broke that one guy's jaw. I broke another guy's orbital with my elbow. Like I've done it, and I'm not even one of the bad guys. And then when you hurt somebody, that's a good day.
Mm.
Even in the like gym, you're like, oh, I dropped somebody. Awesome, I'm doing good. I can tell I'm getting better.
Right.
It's kind of a crappy feeling at the end of the day when you start thinking about what you do and what your benefits are. Well, now I really get to enjoy myself. I get to wrestle on multiple platforms, be it the network, be it on USA Network, be it on Friday Night SmackDown on Fox, and I just, it just, it blows my mind because this is what I wanted my whole life, and I never knew or never thought I'd probably get there, and to come full circle and be here is just, it's awesome.
When you achieve milestones like this, not just signing with WWE, but getting called up and you're about to debut on SmackDown on Friday on Fox, as you just mentioned, do you think back, you just referenced the Dana White comments on UFC Tonight many moons ago on FS1. I rewatched that last night. It's hard to watch, man, and it has nothing to do with
Mm.
me, but like, I mean, you were really unceremoniously kicked while you were down, right? Do you think about those moments and say like, yeah, I proved to you? I mean, he was talking about how you wouldn't make money, the same kind of money you were going to make in the UFC. Good luck getting $150,000, taking shots at you. Do you remember that moment? What
Oh,
you remember?
oh, I remember it. I just, a lot of people are like, oh, that probably worked as motivation. But I'll be honest, when he said all that stuff, I just heard he said all that stuff. I didn't watch that video for like a year or two because I was
Mm,
just like, why would I want to watch my former boss just like talk trash about me? After I basically gave up most of my 20s to him and my body to him for that company. And they barely paid me what they should have, just like they do to everybody else. So it's like, so I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, you should thank Dana White for that motivation. That was a motivation. The motivation was always there. The one thing I will thank him for is talking all that crap about me, calling me a loser and doing all that, because so many people around the world related to that, being treated like that, being talked to like that, and saw how I was treated. And my fan base went through the roof when he said all that bad stuff about me. Not because I was on a 4-fight win streak, not because I was one of the best welterweights in the world, not because I had some of the best take, none of that. It was because he put me down, made me look less than human, basically, and a bunch of people started following me because like that's not fair. Because it's not fair to do that to anybody, and he does it consistently. So it's one of those things like people are like, did you use that as motivation? No. I always wanted to be better than I was, because if I didn't, I would have just stayed in Vegas. I had a house, I was taken care of. But I wanted to push myself. I knew this wasn't over. Like I would have been disappointed with myself if I would have stopped. And it had nothing to do with him. I will thank him though for the push, because when he talked all that crap, a bunch of people probably didn't even know who I was until he went on like a 2-minute tirade calling me a loser and saying I couldn't provide for my family and I was a stupid stoner. But it's funny enough now, I'm probably making 3 times, 4 times, 5 times as much as I would have ever made in the UFC. How come all the UFC players are quitting, retiring, and coming to pro wrestling, be it be it wherever? They're going everywhere. There's a reason why, and it's because you want to get treated better. And that's why I came here. I'm getting treated better. I'm happy, and my family's happy. I get more time with everybody. I'm not killing myself cutting weight. My life is incredibly better now. So it's like it's just one of those things. Like it sucked. I wish I could have saw where I would have been in the UFC, but at the same time, I'm really happy where I'm at, and I don't think Dana gave me any motivation. Because I've heard people say that before. I should thank him for the motivation. It's like, No, he almost bankrupted me. I like literally had to struggle to reclaim everything I had. And the only thing that helped is him calling me a loser on TV, because everybody could be like, wow, I've been called a loser. I've been judged. I've been like that. And people could relate to me.
You just answered my follow-up question because I remember him harping on the fact that it'll be hard for you to make 150 outside of the UFC. You just said you make 4 to 5 times more than what you were making in
Dude,
the UFC?
dude, the amount of merch I sell, and dude, yeah, I was over before I came to WWE. I've been doing good,
Okay.
and yeah, yeah.
Have you do you follow the news? Have you been seeing this stuff about, big name fighters like Masvidal and Jones being unhappy with their pay? And when you read that, what do you think?
Well, it's just unfortunate because you got world class talent working for a world class company, and they don't want to pay their athletes what they should. They don't want to give them what they're worth. And the thing is that these guys, like, because I'm the same way. Like, if I'm not selling the merch, if I'm not bringing in the people to come see it, if people aren't tuning in for my segments on TV, don't pay me that. I'm very honest, but like a lot of people want more than they're worth. I understand that. I don't think these guys are asking for more than they're worth. Be it John Jones, be it Masvidal, they're not asking for more than they're worth. They're putting butts in seats. People want to see these entertaining fighters fight. It's just when a fight game is kind of in a situation like this, it's hard. And the fighters, it stinks, but especially right now, this would be the time where fighters need to stand up for themselves. But the one thing about with fighters, there's always going to be somebody willing to fight for anything. There's people willing to fight for free. I fought for free on the Ultimate Fighter. When I fought on the Ultimate Fighter, you didn't get paid for every fight or paid for any fight. If you got a knockout bonus, you got like $2,500. Like, that's it. So it's like I would fight for free in a cage in front of no people just for the opportunity to maybe get a contract. There's hundreds of people out there like that. So it's hard for these fighters to negotiate money. And it's hard to stay valuable in the UFC because you can only fight so many times a year. With pro wrestling or sports entertainment, I can wrestle all the time. I make my value. I can make content. I can do everything. I'm in complete control. For fighters, I feel like it's a little different.
I remember one of the last times I spoke to you in the UFC was UFC 149 in Calgary in 2012, and you told me that you wanted to retire at 35 as champion. You're about to turn 35. You're not too far away. You're 34 now, and so I'm wondering, have your plans? I mean, obviously, you're not planning on retiring anytime soon, but obviously things have changed for you. But what would you have done? Like, did you know that you were going to transition over to this? It just was going to happen a little differently. Why 35? Why did you say that back then?
Well, my goal, and I wanted to transition to pro wrestling even then. And the goal was probably to be like champion or do something by the time I'm 35 in mixed martial arts that I could use that celebrity or fame to parlay it into pro wrestling. Now, as you can see, I got fired a little too early and didn't get that famous in mixed martial arts, but people knew who I was. And any real, like you and other people that are smart and know the business, like, knew like, wow, that was like a young, hardworking kid that was an up and comer that might have been. Wasn't not saying I was the best. I wasn't just beating everybody up. I'm not John Jones, but I wasn't bad either. So I don't know.
How how big of a part of your life is cannabis these days? Are you still smoking a lot?
Uh, you know, I don't really, I don't like to talk about that.
Okay.
With the WWE and stuff like that. I'll say I'm a supporter of it. It's medically legal in most states, and I know most companies aren't you know punishing people anymore. I know since my stint with the WWE, I've had no problems.
Okay.
They understand my situation. They know I've fought in the UFC. They know I've had multiple surgeries. They know I bump all around a ring and I take damage and everything else. And I'm 34 years old, and as long as I'm not hurting anybody or doing anything, and they make sure they test me all the time, they know everything about me. They test us for everything all the time. So it's like I'm well taken care of, and I'm good. They understand who the bro is.
Speaking of testing, WWE announced earlier this week that a developmental wrestler tested positive for COVID, and now this has changed a lot of things in terms of the events and whatnot. And obviously, this is a different time. Could you tell us like what the experience has been like wrestling in these times, and whether or not you feel safe with everything going on?
Honestly, I personally feel extremely safe. Everybody's wearing a mask for the most part. Granted, when you're wrestling, you're not wearing a mask, but we're in there. They have plexiglass all around from the fans and stuff like that, and the other talent supporting us. Uh, and I think the big thing is they've been checking us. They've been testing us. They've been taking our temperatures. And they've been they've been on top of it the best you possibly can in this current situation while still running the program. So you know I. I feel extremely safe, and it kind of reminds me of like the Ultimate Fighter because
Hmm.
there's way less people there. It's kind of like an empty warehouse. There's camera crew, but they're all like wearing masks, so everybody's wearing masks other than the people that are performing, and you kind of ready, set, go. It's literally just like the Ultimate Fighter, but it's WWE.
And as you mentioned, you have a great relationship with the fans, and when you come out, I mean, they give you always a hero's welcome. But now there aren't any fans. Is it bittersweet for you to debut finally on SmackDown? Like I can't imagine what the reception would have been like, you debuting in front of 15, 18,000 people. Does it feel a little bittersweet now that you're debuting in
Hmm.
front of no fans?
For me, no. It doesn't, just like, oh, I made my debut for the UFC technically on the Ultimate Fighter. Did it not feel as sweet when I knocked that dude out first round? No, it was still one of the most amazing moments of my life because I knew like I'm in the UFC and I did it. And just like here, it's the WWE, it's SmackDown. It's like literally growing up watching SmackDown, being like, this is where all the legends were, and this is like this is destination TV. This is how you become, that guy. And to know that I've been training my whole life and working, fighting, like everything I've worked for, and to be like, now I'm here. I'm on Fox on Friday nights on SmackDown, 8 p.m. Eastern time, and it's just like I said, it blows my mind. It's like I really never thought I would have made it to this point, let alone to be in the UFC and fight on Fox, and then get fired, and then have to go to the Indies because the Indies, it's brutal. It's not just, oh, this is like, look at all the sparkling lights and everything. It's tough, and then to just to finally get here and be working with the world's best wrestlers in the world and everything is just to see Vince McMahon every time you go to work is it's pretty crazy, for a guy like me. And trust me, I'm a professional. I don't let that stuff get to me, but at the same time, it's just like I made it, So it's cool.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Can I ask you two quick questions before I let you go? You have two, yeah. Um, what's your relationship like with Vince and Triple H? I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to be in front of Vince. He's kind of a larger than life individual. What's your relationship like with them?
Honestly, with Triple H, amazing. I mean, I don't think we're like family, but I mean, he showed me videos of his kids like imitating my entrance in their house and stuff during the quarantine, and we jib jab, we joke around, and I think we both appreciate hard work in sports entertainment. We appreciate the business. Vince, I mean, I don't know him as well. I've only had a couple encounters with him, but the guy is 100% professional. Like it's crazy how professional he is, how focused he is about his product, and how hard he works to try to make it what he wants it to be. Uh, I like him. I like him because I think a lot of people, like you said, because of my background stuff, don't challenge me, and I feel like every time I've spoken with him or had conversations with him, he challenges me,
Mm.
or he corrects something about me, like, hey, you shouldn't do that, you should. And it's like, and it's all good stuff. It's all knowledgeable. So it's like, I really like dealing with Vince. So far it's only been short term right now. Maybe that'll change, but he seems like a cool guy. He just, as long as you know what you're doing, you can be successful and you can perform. I mean, I feel like that's what these people are looking for, and I feel like I can do that to the T. So, yeah, I think all of us are going to get along pretty well, you know. So, yeah, I hope I don't ruin that.
Yeah, I know.
I hope that works out. But yeah, I think we'll be fine.
Okay.
Everything's good right now.
Great. I'm glad to hear. Finally, WrestleMania is 10 months away. Where do you think you're at when WrestleMania comes around? Where, like, give us the prediction. Where are you on the card? Who are you wrestling against?
Realistically, I think I'm either, if Stallion Pete comes back into the country, maybe Stallion Pete comes up to SmackDown and we win the tag titles, maybe. Or maybe I'm the Intercontinental Champion by then or something. I feel like that's more realistic. Dream scenario, I win the Royal Rumble, and then from winning the Royal Rumble, you know, I'm not going to mention his name, but he might be champion. I face him at WrestleMania, and I beat him for the title.
Oh,
that would be the dream scenario. But realistically, I'm thinking like probably Intercontinental title. It's my first year, you know, and I'd be even lucky to, hey, if I can make WrestleMania. That's a Stallion performance, you know.
Right.
You know, I'm not trying to bite off too much, you know, and I still got a couple more years in the tank. So.
All right. What an unbelievable story, man. Really. I think the entire MMA community is happy for you and rooting for you. And, you know, anyone who was sort of kicked while they were down and was able to dust themselves off and end up in a better spot is happy and rooting for you as well. So it's an inspirational story. And I've told you this before. Really happy to see you finally get that call, finally debut on SmackDown. I'll be watching. I know a lot of other people will be watching as well. Continued success, Matt, and good luck the rest of the way. And thank you as always for the time.
Hey, thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Hey, and everybody, watch SmackDown, bro. Don't miss it.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.